Gideon's 300 Men, a video to fall asleep to, Part 1, A Whisper in the Winepress. Good evening, dear listener. Let your body soften. Let your breathing fall into a steady rhythm. Now picture yourself in a quiet valley, shadows stretching across golden fields, a breeze moving slowly through the barley. This is the time of the judges, a time when Israel had no king, when people cried out to God again and again, hoping to be rescued. And this story is about a man named Gideon. But when we first meet him, he isn't brave. He isn't loud. He's hiding. The land is under threat. The Midianites have taken over. They come every year like locusts, taking crops, destroying animals, leaving nothing behind. So Gideon is threshing wheat in a winepress, down low, out of sight, trying to keep just a little food for his family. That's where the angel finds him, not on a battlefield, not in a crowd, but hidden, bent low, afraid. And the angel says something strange. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior, mighty warrior." Gideon looks around, maybe behind him. It couldn't be him, but the angel means it. God is calling him right there, as he is, to lead, to trust, to believe. Let that settle in your heart. You don't have to feel strong to be chosen. You don't have to look ready to be used. Sometimes the whisper comes right in the middle of fear. Part 2, Tearing Down the Altars. Gideon listens to the angel's words, still unsure, still full of questions. He says quietly, "If God is with us, why has all this happened?" It's not a bold challenge, it's an honest one, a tired one. But the angel doesn't scold him. He simply says, "Go in the strength you have, not in the strength you wish for, not in the strength you don't believe is enough, but what you have, right now." Gideon agrees. But first, he asks for a sign. So he prepares a small offering. Bread, meat, broth, and the angel touches it with a staff. Fire rises up, consumes it in a breath, and the angel disappears. Gideon falls to the ground, not in fear, but in awe. He builds an altar, a quiet place. He names it, "The Lord is Peace." But peace, as it turns out, requires action. That night, God speaks again. He tells Gideon to tear down the altar of Baal, to break the false idol that his town has worshipped. It's bold, it's risky, it's personal, but Gideon obeys, quietly in the dark, with 10 men beside him. They pull down the altar, cut down the pole beside it, build a new altar to the true God in its place. By morning, the town is stirred, angry, confused. But Gideon doesn't hide anymore. He stands firm. His father speaks for him. If Baal is real, let him defend himself. Let that truth rest in you now. Sometimes the first battle is not out there, but inside, in the places closest to home, in the quiet steps of obedience that no one sees until the morning comes. Part 3, Too Many Men. Time passes. The Midianites return. Their army spreads like a sea of tents across the valley. And now Gideon is ready. Almost. He gathers an army. 32,000 men stand behind him, strong, eager, prepared. But God says something unexpected. You have too many, too many. That's not how battles are won. But God explains, if you win with this many, Israel will think they did it themselves. So Gideon is told to send some home, all who are afraid, all who are unsure. And just like that, 22,000 leave, only 10,000 remain. And still, God says, it's too many. So he gives another instruction. Take them to the water. Watch how they drink. Some kneel and drink like animals. Others cup the water with their hands, staying alert. And God says, choose those who lap with their hands. Only 300 remain. From 32,000 to 300. Not because of strategy, not because of strength, but because God wants to make it clear. This battle won't be won by numbers. Let that truth rest in your heart. Sometimes, less is enough. Sometimes, smaller is stronger. Because when we have less to rely on, we remember who truly fights for us. Part 4. The Dream and the Plan. Night falls over the valley. The air is still. The stars are clear. And Gideon lies awake. 300 men. That's all he has now. And across the valley, the Midianite camp glows with fires, crowded with thousands. But God speaks again. If you're still afraid, go down to their camp. Listen. So Gideon goes. Quietly, with one servant beside him, they creep through the shadows until they reach the edge of the enemy tents. And just then, they hear two men speaking. One says, I had a dream. A loaf of bread rolled into our camp. It hit a tent, and the whole thing collapsed. The other answers, that can only mean one thing. God has given us into Gideon's hands. Gideon hears, and suddenly, he knows. This isn't his battle. This isn't about swords and shields. It's about trust. He returns to his camp and wakes the 300. He divides them into 3 groups, but he doesn't hand out weapons. He gives each man a trumpet and a jar with a torch inside. That's all. No swords, no spears, just sound, light, and courage. And the plan: surround the camp, break the jars, blow the trumpets, hold up the torches, and shout. Not to confuse his own people, but to confuse the enemy. Let that rest with you now. Sometimes the battle is won in the mind, in the heart, in the fear that can be turned back with the sound of hope and the light of truth. Part 5. Victory in the dark. The night is still. The air hangs heavy. The Midianites sleep, unaware. But up on the hills around them, 300 men stand in silence, hands steady, hearts pounding. Each holds a jar with a torch hidden inside, and a trumpet, simple, hollow, ready to sound. Then Gideon lifts his arm, and all at once the jars shatter. The torches blaze, the trumpets scream into the night. A sword for the Lord and for Gideon. The men shout, voices strong in the darkness. The Midianite camp erupts. Tents burst open. Soldiers scramble, confused by the light, by the sound, by the fear. They turn on each other. In the panic, they don't know who the enemy is. No swords are drawn by Gideon's men. No charge is made. Just light, just sound, just faith. The enemy flees, scattered, broken, and the land begins to breathe again. The 300 men do not boast. They do not lift themselves high. They know This was not their victory. This was God's. And Gideon, he leads quietly, returns home, not with trophies, but with peace. Let that truth settle deep within you tonight. Sometimes the battles in life aren't won by force. They're won by trust, by obedience, by listening to the quiet voice that says, "You have what you need." Sleep now, dear listener. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't need the biggest army. You just need to trust the one who walks with you in the dark.